Okay. The chat room that I'm looking at here is probably not the same one. Let's see what I can find here. Hello, James. Hi.
Oh, hi. I didn't know you were going to be saying hello at the same time. That was...
Okay, so let me see here. I see some people in the chat room.
A few.
This is the new chat. Okay. 6 watching.
Can't get back into the old chat, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think I was afraid that once we started the new Hangout that that the old chat would be inaccessible. Wow, this is weird. I think I managed to put in the new HOA link though in the chat room, the old chat room before I.
Yes, you did. It was there. That's how I got to the new chat room.
Oh, okay.
So anyone who's there should have that. Let me see here. I think I can actually still comment there now.
And Captain Nick is going to take some time because he's got to type in the whole thing.
Really?
Because it's Jilly's computer and he doesn't know how to sign in on it or something.
I don't know. That was weird. What happened? It just Oh, still there? Hello? Oh. Hey, chat room. Can you guys hear me? Because Jeff froze on my screen. Well, this is frustrating, isn't it, guys? Yeah. Hold on. No Jeff at all? You don't see his screen frozen anymore? Oh. Now it just says that I'm waiting for people to join the video call. Hold on. Don't go anywhere. Seriously. All right. I'm still here. I haven't left you guys, I promise. Oh, you're back?
I don't know what's going on. It says that I'm getting plenty of bandwidth here. I don't know what's going on.
Who knows?
I'm this close to saying.
Is it a sign? Yeah.
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 Because I got to get up really early. I'm thinking maybe I'll just finish this tomorrow. And I have all day tomorrow in Columbia. So if you want to join me tomorrow, I know Nick won't be able to because he'll be flying across the pond.
Across the pond.
But maybe Rick will be able to join us.
Maybe. There you go. Tomorrow. I don't know. I'm looking at my... Huh?
I said I really thought that he was going to be able to join us on today's show.
I know.
Wonder what happened. I'm getting 12.59 down and 5.29 up. That's plenty. So
hold on, I'm checking my schedule for tomorrow. I have to. I'd have to call it quits at a certain time. I don't know what time I'm done with. Hold on.
I can do it anytime tomorrow. So whatever works out best for you.
Nothing works real great for me, but let me see.
No. Okay.
Oh, no, I want my schedule. Where's my schedule? Schedule. Okay. You think I'd know how to use this technology?
I won't tell anybody.
Oh,
Nobody will know.
My last... Wait, these times are all screwy. Hold on. 1:15, 1:30, 1:45, 2:15, 2:30. My last patient's at 2:30. I have a commitment at 6:30, but that gives me a little bit of time. Okay. I might just bring my laptop with me and the microphone and
so you wouldn't
not
have to
run
come
home. Yeah.
Yeah. That'll work.
I'll do that, and we'll see what works out.
Okay.
And maybe Rick will be around. But yeah, I should be done around. I mean, I really, unless things really blow up, which it shouldn't. I'm just looking at what these injections are. They're all straightforward stuff. That's good.
Well, I could just play it by ear, if.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing around 3:00 I could be ready to go. I might just sit in the office at the hospital because it's private and just lock myself in there. Yeah.
And you probably have pretty decent bandwidth there, I would imagine.
No, maybe. I don't know if it'll let me access social media sites though, or anything like this. It tends to be pretty
we can find
well blocked. But I can just use my I can set up a hotspot on my phone probably.
Okay. Let's see. So we actually we're it says we're broadcasting.
We are. Nick needs the link again though.
Listening. So this is the current link. Yeah. Nick's looking for the link. Well,
Did you email it to him?
Yeah, I emailed him, and I also
it's in the text.
Put it in the text. Come on, Nick, you can do it. I don't know. I think I'm getting the feeling that the internet gods are saying that's it. That's enough for you tonight.
Yeah, well, I think time wise too. It's late.
Yeah, I'm because I got to get up at before 4:00.
That's
be nice to have
terrible.
some sleep. Yeah, not as bad as the other morning. And where was I? I don't remember where I was. Oh, Jacksonville. I had to get up at 3.
Oh,
yeah,
that's no fun.
Needless
I've had a pretty consistent 5:30 wake up. That's not too bad.
Yeah, especially if your body's kind of used to it,
Yeah, I mean, my schedule's super regular.
All right. Well, yeah. So hey, if you're watching us right now in the chat room, let's see. How do I get my chat window up here?
So we've got Micah, Stephen Ward, Liz Piper, Joe Driver.
So I'm assuming
Stuart
that they're
Thompson,
hearing us.
Brad Larson. Oh yeah. Yep.
Okay. Well, folks, you heard our discussion here. I think that we're going to attempt to finish this up tomorrow, probably another hour's worth tomorrow, maybe a little bit more.
Oh yeah, easily an hour.
And then we're pardon?
Oh, I just said easily an hour.
Yeah. And hopefully Miami Rick will be able to join us. Oh, Liz won't be able to make it tomorrow. Liz. Oh well, you were here today. Okay, we could do 3 p.m. Look, James is suggesting times.
He's scheduling for us. Thank you, James.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, there he is.
Sorry, it took me a while. I had to read. I never got your tweet message, so I had to type it in manually.
Oh.
It took me a wee while to get
it right. You didn't get it on your messages on your phone? Or your email?
Yes, that's where I got it from. So I had to type it in manually into the computer that has all the video.
That's a long URL too.
Yeah, I know. I got it right eventually.
Well, we were discussing while you were trying to type all that kind of stuff in that maybe we just go ahead and try to finish it tomorrow.
Okay. I mean, we're back now, though, surely.
Yeah, we are.
Everyone's back in the chat room, aren't they?
They are. Most of them. The people we care about.
Yeah. And the ones we don't care about, they're not here to hear us. So, except they might be watching the video now, and we've just alienated a very large
all
group
of our
of people.
listeners. I'm sorry. That was me. I take full responsibility for that.
Okay, it's Steph's fault. She's the mean one. Okay.
If we do it again tomorrow, I'm going to have to try and work my sleep patterns out, because obviously this would be too late. I have to fly home tomorrow.
What? Yeah. I figured that if we did it tomorrow, you wouldn't be able to join us.
Yeah. You did that on purpose? You thought about that? That's a bit sad.
Yeah, I planned this whole thing. Have I been very convincing? Making up all these error messages and everything else. Yep. I was actually just hitting stop broadcast.
Like, I've had enough tonight. How can I end this? Oh, I know.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. I can do a little bit more, although I was hoping to get to bed by 9.
All right.
Because I have to get up kind of early.
Well, we've probably only got 20, 25 minutes left anyway, haven't we? Because we've been going quite a while. We haven't got that much more feedback to do.
Yeah, I mean we do, but that's just the stuff that I put in the folder. Yeah, we can do that. Why don't we do a little bit more, and then we'll see what we end up with. Maybe it'll just be a shorter show. Okay. Let's see So did we finish up with Knick Knack Jack?
I think you did.
Yeah. I didn't see a record button. Were you recording?
Live. It says live.
Oh, okay. You're looking for a red dot for some reason. I'm not quite sure why.
Maybe that was the blab interface.
Ah.
I don't know. But
people are filling up the chat room.
Okay. People are coming back, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Carry on.
I'm going to carry on. Yeah, so we had a little bit of a technical interruption there, and hoping that I'm trying to recall exactly how we were answering Knick Knack Jack's question about fuel consumption rates, etc. I think we did a pretty good job of answering that, but as I said, we were a little distracted with some technical issues here. So, Knick Knack Jack.
I'm remembering now. You guys answered the question completely, and then that's when people stopped being able to see us. So it's at least on the audio podcast portion.
Okay. Very good. Well, then let's continue, shall we? Joel writes in. He says, "Hi, everyone. Thank you for responding to my last feedback. The list of colleges have helped me a lot." Okay, he was asking about aviation colleges, etc. "And now I can start to look into more schools. I was wondering, what is the best way to build up hours? I was thinking of joining a small airline in the Caribbean and do some island hopping. Thanks for your responses. Keep up the great work." That's Joel. And so, Steph, what do you think? Do you have any ideas for Joel, how he can build hours?
I think there are so many different ways to build hours that it's not even funny. I guess it depends on, and I'm trying to remember where Joel was in terms of training, if he had started yet or not, because that makes some difference.
You know, I don't think he has. I'm trying to remember as well, but I think he's thinking about getting into it, but that hasn't made a huge dent in it yet.
Sure. So, just to kind of generalize what I see most people do who aren't military and who really aren't doing the aviation college route, who have done flying on their own, who have gone through flight schools, done college on the side outside of that, but who still need to meet the 1,500-hour requirement before they can get their ATP nowadays. A lot of them end up working through all of their ratings first, so all the way up through their CFI, CFII, and then they from there start doing a lot of flight instructing. There are other things you can do if you go, well, flight instructing's not for me. I don't think I'd be a good instructor. I'm just not interested in it. There's all kinds of jobs from ferrying aircraft to you can do power line patrol. You can fly skydivers. You can do all kinds of things to build hours up to get your 1,500 hours before you work on your ATP check ride. So if that's the question you're asking, I don't know what the requirements are in the for airlines in the Caribbean for their ATPs, but if you're thinking about building hours after you have your ATP before you join a major airline, most people do go to, through the regional route if they've not done military flying or anything along those routes. So regional airlines here in the U.S. and the Caribbean, those are other good ways to build hours.
That is a good question. I'm not sure, because most of the Caribbean islands are not U.S. territories, and I'm not sure who the regulatory agencies would be regarding the flying down there. Do you know, Nick, by off chance?
I think a lot of them are dependent on the islands because they might have one specific to their government, or they might have one that is combined. Some of them, most of them, piggyback off the Civil Aviation Authority in the UK, I guess.
Right. So I would imagine if it's an airline that is regulated by the United States, the FAA, then the same 1,500-hour requirement would apply. But that's just for that's for Part 121 and not for 135, right? I'm not sure.
No, what Part 121 for scheduled airline operations. Yeah.
So I guess a lot of those Caribbean flying island hopping things that would be Part 120. I don't know. I'm not the person to ask, apparently. Maybe if you're listening out there, you know what the requirements are. I mean, can somebody that has just let's say a couple of hundred hours of
say you have your commercial
experience?
License here in the United States, you've got 250 hours.
Yeah.
Are there any?
So let's say you have a commercial license and 250 hours, 300 hours. Can you get hired by like an island hopper and then build up your time that way? I would imagine you could.
So it's be a lot easier in China.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, Jeffrey McFeeder says that you can fly at Cape Air as a first officer with 700 hours. Interesting. Huh. Well, there you go. There's a little bit of information there. There's, in addition to some of the things that Steph mentioned, did you mention like banner towing and...
Banner towing, yeah, I was trying to think of all the things you can do with a commercial license that aren't competing with the airlines, essentially, to build hours.
I'm just thinking the number of guys that go over to the States to purchase inexpensive hours and build up their hours. I'm thinking the competition for those jobs where you either don't get paid a small amount or don't get paid just to build hours must be huge anyway. So I'm just wondering how easy it's going to be to kind of do that.
I think it depends on where you are. I know in some of the more rural places here, especially in North Carolina, you can find those jobs. They do exist. Sometimes it's who you know and the contacts you make. But there you go.
All right. Well, I hope that helped you out, Joel. And if not, follow up. And good luck with your finding a good aviation college and finding a way to build up those hours. I would like to do this week's episode of Plane Tales while we still have a connection. So let's sit back, relax, and enjoy the episode of Plane Tales. Oh, wait a minute. You can't hear that because I pushed the wrong button.
Nope.
Okay. Good, because my intro was really bad anyway. Let's see if I have it over here. Plane Tale. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll just, I'll hit the echo button, so don't say anything. Here we go. Okay, I'm sliding it up right now. And now.
The old pilot's Plane Tales. Just another day at work. The telebrief squawk box crackled to life.
Lucas, alert, 1 Phantom.
Came the voice of a fighter controller at Buchan, miles to the north.
Mission 01.
Replied the RAF Lucas operations officer.
Mission 01.
The fighter controller continued.
Vector 010. Climb Angels 25. Scramble, scramble, scramble. Acknowledge.
Before the first few words had been finished, 4 men leapt to their feet. 2 pilots and 2 navigators stumbled clumsily into action, coffee cups flying. The first to the door pounded on an alarm switch and a siren sounded, almost as loud as the jangling warning bell as the doors of the Q shed grumbled open and the pounding feet of the ground crews as they sprinted to their aircraft. The Q1 navigator paused to scribble on his knee pad the brief instructions, and then clicked the telebrief to transmit breathlessly, replying,
Mission 01 scrambling.
A strange choreographed dance was being played out around the 2 fully armed Phantoms that maintained Northern Quick Reaction Alert. First up the steps were the pilots, who had been frantically zipping up boots and goon suits as they ran half-hopping to their aircraft. Jumping straight into their ejector seats, they were followed by their ground crew, who were busy handing them their straps and straightening them as they were snapped into place. Flight helmets, carefully positioned on top of the windshields, were jammed straight onto the head. There would be time to get things comfortable later. Ejector seat pins were pulled, and as pigtails were plugged in, the ragged breathing of the crew came live on the intercom. Down below, bright red keys flagged move before flight withdrawn, making the 8 missiles live and freeing the 3 large drop tanks should they need to be jettisoned. Protective noddy caps were whipped off the front of the sidewinders, revealing the gleaming glass of the infrared seeker heads. Still strapping in, the Q1 pilot gave the wind-up signal and began to turn the left engine, rapidly followed by the right. Only a few feet away, the Q2 jet sat manned but silent. The nav checked in on the telebrief.
Q2 at readiness 5.
Should the Q1 crew have a problem getting their aircraft fired up, then they were ready to take the mission. Soon the small shed was bursting with the whine of 2 Rolls-Royce Spays, which, within the small confines of the building, was almost unbearable. Now that internal power was available, the pilot gave the unplug signal to the ground crew, and the external power cable that had kept the aircraft quietly poised was pulled. A wave of crossed palms and the aircraft chocks were withdrawn, and as the dance continued, a lone marshaller stood in front of the jet, beckoning it on.
Mission 01 scramble taxi.
The pilot was already well on his way across the hard standing, knowing that he would be given priority over any other traffic, and the start of the runway was only 100 feet away. The navigator was reading fast from his checklist, running through the abbreviated pre-takeoff checks as air traffic gave clearance for taxi and takeoff in one breath. With the last words barely out of his mouth, the reheats lit and the familiar surge of acceleration glued the crew into their seats. With a maximum fuel and missile load, the Phantom was a little more restrained than usual in its desire to get airborne, but with 15 feet of diamond check flame licking the runway, it still only took a few heartbeats. As they hit 300 knots, the pilot pulled the reheats back, leaving the engines in military power, and he set course northwards, whilst climbing to his assigned height. His navigator was already busy with his radar, checking it out, and he cursed as it failed to power up. He banged the scope in and out of its stowage, then killed the power and restarted it, quietly praying. His pilot, suddenly tense, asked what the hell he thought he was doing. Staying quiet, the backseater waited for the set to warm and come back up. As the green mess of radar returns glowed on his screen, he switched through the modes and sighed with relief. His answer to the pilot was to pass the radar serviceable code word back to ops. Back in the Q shed, the frequency changes. Slowly, their quiet machine, they left it cocked and prepared should they be needed. They were bridesmaids once again. Over in the squadron there was a little gathering round the telebrief repeater as Buchan gave a sit rep.
Pop up bogies 300 miles north of Saxe-Ford heading south. Q1 en route to identify and shadow.
The squadron boss was on the secure line to Buchan Ops controller, asking if he was likely to want Q3 bringing up from readiness 60. Down in squadron ops, the ops officer was looking around for the Q3 crew to make sure they were ready to man their jet, if needed. As the time passed, this was looking more and more like a run-of-the-mill intercept, but everyone knew that in times past they had had half the squadron armed and in the air. The Q1 crew quietly headed towards a discrete control frequency, but little was said. Everyone knew their job, and zip-lip was standard procedure. The less electronic intelligence passed, the better. From Buchan, they were passed over to the Saxe-Ford controller, who gave them new vectors. The nav was starting to pick up contacts, fat and juicy, but not in range of his pulse frequency mode yet, so no distance was available. The pilot had smoothed out his folded ear from when he jammed on his helmet. He had only remembered when the pain suddenly broke through the adrenaline of the scramble. He had tidied up his cockpit and rechecked everything a few times, but the transit had generally been pretty tedious, at least as tedious as flying a tanked-up Phantom, with 4 Skyflash radar missiles as big as telegraph poles on his belly, and 4 winders growling away on his wing pylons could be.
Saxe, mission 01, contact, 10 left at 45.
The pilot's heart beat a little faster. His nav had them. A few words passed between Saxe and his nav to confirm the contacts were his bogies, and then to repeat the instructions.
Identify and shadow to PLE.
Prudent limit of endurance. Now the chat between front and back seats became more intense as the nav drew the pilot's eyes onto the target. At 20 miles he had one of them, by 15 miles both, and when he was sure he could keep them in sight, the nav put his radar set to standby. They closed in on the bogies, and then the radar warning receiver started to chirp. A gun-laying radar was starting to take an interest in them. Smoothly slipping in behind the rear aircraft, the pilot confirmed their suspicions. A Bear Delta. It looks like a Bear Delta to me. The RWR alarmed as the Bear crew locked up their behind radar to the Phantom, but the cannon barrels stayed pointing straight up. They pulled up alongside, the nav busy with his noddy guide, ensuring the pilot's guess was right. After all, he wasn't renowned for his recce skill. Then he grabbed his Nikon and started shooting. The pilot closed the gap to 20 feet or so, and then slid beneath the vast fuselage. He started to move forward to get under the nose gear doors so that they could read the identifying aircraft number. As he passed a beam of the 12-foot diameter contra-rotating props, the asynchronous beats filled the cockpit, and the Phantom vibrated. Craning their necks, they read and photographed the number. They eased back to the side to have a good look around. The Bear crew took no interest in them, staring straight ahead. Perhaps this aircraft had a political commissaire on board? The lead Bear was 4 miles ahead, and it was time to pay him a visit. Keeping an eye on his fuel, the pilot accelerated, and in a few minutes they came abreast a nearly identical aircraft. His crew seemed a bit more friendly, and they shared a wave or two. Without warning, though, the Bear started turning, gently easing round through 180 degrees and heading north. All the time they had been making progress towards Scotland, the Phantom crew had been relaxed. They were heading in the direction of their base. Now they paid more attention to their fuel figures. The range to home was increasing at 7 miles a minute, and before long they would have to think about giving up their chase. The Bears settled on a heading that would take them around northern Norway and back to their lair. This looked like a good time for the Phantom crew to bingo back to home plate. Out of range of Saxa, they gave a final wave to the Bear crew, took a last couple of shots, and turned away. After the excitement of the past 20 minutes or so, the hour-long transit home was going to be boring. The navigator realized he had a full bladder, but the last thing he was going to do was try to fill his piddle pack. He set his mind to hang on. Saxa came back in range and confirmed their position. The crew reported the results of the intercept. Identify 2 Bear Delta, now heading 020 degrees. We are Chicken RTB. Back at Lucas, the Q ground crew readied a Bowser to refuel the returning fighter. They had only 60 minutes to get it back on state, but the crew had passed a fully serviceable code, so they would probably only need to repack the brake chute, gas it, and pump some engine oil up into the reservoirs. On the squadron, things were back to normal, and the night flying program was just starting. Hardly anyone looked up as Q1 broke into the circuit and landed. The boss was back to his paperwork, and most of the pilots were already in the bar. Just another day at work.
Another excellent episode of Plain Tales by Captain Nick Anderson.
You're too kind.
Is that was that you in there?
Could have been.
Talking about?
Could have been.
Okay.
I mean, I when I'm a bit short of time, as I've been so busy this week with simulator study and doing the sims, I tend to think of a story I can pull from memory. So, yeah.
I was going to say, any similarities to real persons are purely coincidental.
Disclaimer, please. Disclaimer.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, that was it's always good to hear the Plain Tales by Captain Nick. All
Right. You're
right.
very kind.
Agreed.
I suppose we should continue for a little bit longer, and then we'll call it quits. Let's see. What's the matter?
Sorry, I meant just mute. I was just clearing my
I
throat.
thought you were snickering or something. I'm sorry.
No,
Um,
I wouldn't do such a thing, Jeff. How can you think
Of course not.
No.
Of course not. Hey, well, this is something to snicker about. Jeff McFeeders, he's with us in the chat room. At least he was earlier. I think he's still there. Sent in this piece of feedback. He said, I hope that these don't have cheap lithium-ion batteries. And he sent a link to ModoBag. That's MODOBAG.com, the world's only motorized, smart, connected carry-on luggage. Did you guys get a chance to look at the video?
No, I haven't watched the video, but I'm just looking at this now. I'm just thinking.
It looks superb.
I'm thinking two things. One is that I would totally use that, and two, how lazy are we? We have to ride on our suitcases to our gates.
So basically, for those of you listening to the audio and haven't yet had the chance to check out the video on ModoBag.com, basically, imagine some rollerboard luggage with wheels on the bottom, but instead of trailing it behind you or whatever, you're actually riding it. So it looks like a bunch of people riding like kids' equipment, like kids.
Well, if you're a tall person, this is not going to be terribly comfortable because it doesn't look like that large of a bag.
And how long is this going to last? I can't imagine that.
Well, I think Jeff's got a good point. I wonder if it's just got hoverboard batteries in it.
It might. Now these things are going to be catching on fire in the cargo holds. Yeah, that's great. So
I'm just wondering how the cabin crew, with their not very long skirts and their very long legs, are going to look going down.
Oh, let me think about that for a minute.
Yeah,
I like that picture.
Yeah,
well, but it is a very connected bag. It's got some USB plugs and some other power options, it looks like. So
with all that stuff in it, I'm thinking, can you? And it doesn't look that big. I'm wondering how much stuff can you actually get in
put your
there?
tablet in it.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't see how this is going to last.
Oh, I don't know. I think it's a great idea, personally.
This is for day trippers. It's it's not for people.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times? If you had to run to your gate to try and make it on time, I mean, just that you leap on board your bag and off you go.
I think I was reading something on the site. They go into a little bit more detail about the technology and performance figures. I think it goes up to like 8 miles per hour, which is a pretty good. It's a pretty
Good
good
pace.
Yeah, it's like a faster than a fast walk, but not quite a running or jogging pace. Maybe a jogging pace.
Main man Micah says he needs one the size of a Prius.
Prius.
A Prius.
Prius?
I'm sorry.
Yeah. What? No, I'm just looking at the picture of the.
Anyway, so
the
thanks,
lady
Jeff.
That they have. She looks totally ridiculous. This is very funny.
Well, you should
Yeah,
see the
but-
video. It looks really, really ridiculous. People going down, sitting on their luggage, going down the concourse.
I don't know if you saw the where did I put it? I think I put it on the Facebook page or tweeted it when I was in the Charlotte airport on my way over to, or before my flight left to go to London. We saw a little kid riding on the back of a suitcase, and his mom was pulling the handle. So Justice convinced me that I should do the same thing. So I laid down on the suitcase and
We saw that.
kind of the same thing.
We just assumed you were drunk at 9 o'clock in the morning.
It was 9 o'clock at night.
Oh, really? Okay.
So you have an
Perfectly
excuse.
acceptable time to
But
be
you
drunk.
didn't deny being drunk.
I will neither confirm nor deny.
Nice one.
Hey, Robert sent in this. He said, I literally just saw this TV ad and thought of you. Sends a link to the YouTube video. And he said that I started from podcast 001 and I'm only on 138. So I'm way behind, but slowly catching up. I don't know if you've already been sent this, so I apologize if you have. Nope, we haven't. This is an ad for a protein bar called Pure Protein, and it's kind of cute. Let's take a listen to this.
What's your plan? Hop this quick flight, be home in time for dinner? Unflight, be home in
You
time.
know what? I should probably set this up. This is because you're not seeing the video. It's a view of a cockpit, a captain sitting in his captain's seat, and he's kind of turned around, talking to you, the viewer, and you're standing in the like in the cockpit door, looking at him sitting in his cockpit. So here we go again.
What's your plan? Hop this quick flight, be home in time for dinner? Unfortunately, we won't be taking off for a while. I forgot to radio in, and now we're 44th in line for takeoff. So I'll use my smooth pilot voice to tell you it'll only be 30 minutes. Every 30 minutes. Until it's been 4 hours. I hope you brought a snack, because we don't have them anymore.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is your captain speaking. Pure Protein. Keep one on you. Keep on track.
little ad for Pure Protein bars, but I like at the very end how he kind of changes his voice to, this is your captain speaking.
He changes his voice to your voice, Jeff. Didn't you spot that?
I love the fact that he goes, we're going to tell you every 30 minutes that it's another 30 minutes for the next 4
Until
hours.
it's been 4 hours.
Yeah.
I think
Perfect.
we've all experienced that situation. Yeah.
But that just sounded just like you.
No, it didn't.
I
I don't have
did.
that low.
It sounds like every pilot.
Back me up.
ever.
To back me up here, Steph. That was Captain Jeff.
All I heard was both of you guys, regardless of the fact that you have different accents completely. That was just
Yeah,
standard pilot voice over the PA.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
yeah, a nice, calming, authoritative sounding
Exactly.
voice on the, or on the PA.
Slightly
just-
cultured.
Yeah. How about one more piece of audio feedback, and then we'll end the show. This is from Jason, Down Under.
It's Jason again from Sydney, Australia. Just wanted to ask you guys 2 questions, and hopefully my Murik isn't somewhere off in other parts of the world. So the first question is, what is the biggest regret you've ever had in your entire aviation, life, in your history of aviation? Because it doesn't really matter whether it's a decision or it's a choice. Anywhere it's a choice or decision in your flying, piloting, when you're piloting, or a decision or choice when you were in the simulator, or when you were in the military, even when you were doing your training, maybe there was a decision you had that probably wasn't such a good idea. And I'm not just talking about any regret. I'm talking about the worst regret you've ever had in your history of aviation. My second question is for the military guys, the Air Force guys. There's all these jokes about, fighter pilots and how, the world revolves around them. So I was wondering, Captain Jeff and Captain Nick, and any other community members that, was in the military and want to, reply. So have you been ever bragged or, said to others, yeah, I'm a fighter pilot, and then, be your arrogant. At least there was some time in your, military career that, you bragged or you were arrogant, then you fly those big, fast planes. As Miami Hick says, keep your hat on your head and your shoes on your feet. Signing off, Jason Wu from Sydney, Australia.
Let me tell you, Jason, especially when Captain Nick's had a few beers, he will not stop bragging about the fact that he was a fighter pilot. Yeah, it's awful.
On and on and on.
On and on and on. Okay, we get it.
Let me guess.
That is
You
so
were a fighter
unfair.
pilot?
That is so
I'm just
unfair.
It's not true at all.
Don't
No.
listen to.
He's a
Thank
very
you
modest
much.
person.
That
He
is-
has accomplished amazing things in his military flying career, and you'd never know it,
except for the
Yeah,
fact that I keep
100%.
killing everybody.
except for that part.
Yeah. And your
No, of course.
semi-autobiographical plain tales.
Yeah.
And I tried not to say it in the first person.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, honestly, I think that there are examples. Captain Nick knows of them. Probably Dr. Steph does, and I do as well. Of people that do kind of have that overly confident swagger when it comes to the fact that they flew fighters in the military services. But I think that those are the exception and not the rule. Unfortunately, they're the ones that give everyone else the bad reputation.
Well, they're the ones that stand out because they're the ones that do all the talking.
Right.
But there are plenty of people out there who are modest, humble human beings, and it was their job, and they did their job, and they did it well, and that's all there is to it.
It's the ones that don't really need to brag about it. You just know it. If you know the
Exactly.
person, you know the way they fly. You don't need to tell anybody because you just model it. And I think some of the most impressive pilots that I've flown with in my life were people that had flown fighters. One in particular that comes to mind was the flight captain in my air training command squadron when I was there working as an instructor. He flew F4s, and he was the best pilot I've ever flown with, and he was a very modest person. He didn't go around bragging about the fact that he had accomplished a bunch of amazing things. It's just that, but you knew it. He was confident, but he didn't have to brag about it. And as far as I'm concerned, I did not fly fighters, even though I was in the U.S. Air Force. I flew transports and was an instructor pilot in the Air Training Command. And regarding this may kind of dovetail in with the first part of your first question about regrets. I was under the impression when I was going through pilot training, and I was going through with the idea of trying to get experience to fly in the airlines eventually, and I had the idea that you had to fly the heavies to get a job with the major airlines here in the U.S. And so, although I could have flown fighters if I so chose, because I was high enough in my class rankings to do that, I didn't. And sometimes it's not like a deep regret. It's maybe like a slight regret. I'm wondering, what it would have been like to fly the F-15 or F-16 or something like that in the Air Force. But I did have a great time flying the 141 transports all around the world. So I don't know. Honestly, when I really think about it, I really don't have any regrets about how my career has gone and the choices that I made, etc. The only regret I have is starting this podcast. It really, and then asking,
bringing us
asking,
along, sure. That's a
asking
huge
Captain
regret.
Nick to join us.
Yeah, yeah.
That was a major. Now that I'm thinking about it, a major regret in January when I
Too
asked
late
Captain
now,
Nick
old
to
chap.
join. He knows I'm kidding. Any regrets for either of you?
I think the only regret I have is that I didn't start flying sooner, that I didn't realize that it would be something that I could achieve or accomplish. And I don't know why. I mean, I have a lot of lofty career goals and things that are not easy to accomplish and straightforward, but for some reason, and because the thought certainly entered my mind, and especially talking with some of my siblings who were interested in aviation as well, it was just like, well, that's something that people who are going into the military do, or who have lots and lots of money do, or who, it just seemed like something that was out there that was unattainable and not for me, and it didn't I want to say occur, but it didn't really come into my mind that it was an attainable goal until much, much later. And I wish I'd started flying sooner, because I think I would have really enjoyed doing it much earlier on in life. So.
Regrets.
Well, you've got plenty of time yet, Steph. You're by far the youngest of all of us.
No, I mean, I just would have liked to have started flying much younger. I mean, in my late teens, early 20s. I would have liked, going along with that too, would have been fun to take my mom up on a flight at some point. Never got the chance to do that.
Yeah, so. That's kind of something that is a bit special, taking your own parents up. I agree.
Sure.
Yeah. And for me, let me think. My biggest regret, and I have to say that I'm not a bloke that has planned his career in any form or manner. I've just sort of been carried by the riptide, carried by the current, and just been pushed into areas. But luckily, they've all turned out to be brilliant. But at one point in my career, I was taken away from the front line to go and instruct. And a lot of people would think that would be an honor, and they would really enjoy that. But coming from being a frontline pilot to go back into training command, and there's been 4 years with, I shouldn't be rude, with students, lovely blokes, so they are. It can be just a little bit difficult at times. I really did not enjoy the thought of doing that. Of course, as it turns out, every challenge has an interest in it. So when you're presented with the challenge of becoming a flight instructor and teaching guys to further their careers, it's actually a very rewarding job. And as it turned out, it was not a bad thing to do. But that 4 years stuck in a remote corner of Wales, a very wet and windy place without a lot of facilities, just churning the sausage machine and bringing students in, training them up and pushing them out the other end again, was not the most rewarding 4 years of my life. But that would be the area that I would say would have been the part of my career that I don't look back on with a great amount of love. And momentarily forgotten the second part of the question. Guys, help me here.
Oh, he was talking about you arrogant fighter pilots.
Okay. That's an interesting one, actually, James, because in my experience, the more capable and the nicer and the better pilots are the guys that spend least possible time talking about their achievements and their ability. The guys that are a little bit underconfident and a little bit unsure of themselves are the ones that tend to brag and boast the most. So I guess I'll just leave it there.
Well, let me tell you about me.
Oh boy, sit back. It's gonna be another hour. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, let's see. Bring up the music a little bit to have some background music while I tell you about how great I am. No, let me turn that off. Yeah, so I think we both agree, we all agree that the ones that
No,
are
I agree 100%.
and probably true with all kinds of professions, all kinds of fields
Yeah, I
of
think the
work.
people who don't say a lot, it's not because they don't have great skill, they aren't confident, but it makes them maybe uncomfortable to brag about accomplishments. Um, I don't know. That's just the sense I get. And the people who are doing a lot of bragging don't have that filter of feeling like maybe I shouldn't say that about myself or put myself out there that way.
Right. I do share the same kind of experience that Captain Nick has had in the military. When I was really enjoying what I was doing, flying the C-141, I was abruptly yanked from that and sent back to the Air Training Command as a non-volunteer. Because again, I was still under that impression that the experience that I needed to have to get into the airlines was that heavy jet experience. I'm thinking, oh great, now I'm going to fly those little tiny trainer jets, and none of this experience is going to count for anything. What I found out, of course, was quite the opposite. At least most of the airlines that I know of here in the States, and I'm sure it's true with many airlines around the world, is that the instructor slash that you have in the military is looked upon as gold for the airlines. They know that you have what it takes to be, if you have what it takes to be an instructor or an evaluator, that you're probably pretty good at what you do. And so turns out that it worked out for me. Although this hair that I have here, video you're watching, the audio you've seen, pictures of me. The reason why I have all this gray hair is because of flying with students in the military, especially when they were flying solo on my wing in formation. So
I thought you could have just told me it was someone else's hair, actually, and that you managed to glue it on very successfully.
It's all mine.
There are a lot of pilots who'd be jealous of that thatch, Jeff.
Oh, I'm not complaining. Though it sounds like I might be. I'm happy to have some hair. So that's anyway. Great questions, Jason. Good to hear from you again from Sydney, and great to hear from all of you. And I think that we covered quite a few questions on this show. A lot of great audio feedback from you folks. Oh, just one more thing before we go. I thought that you.
Here we go again.
Yeah, I know. I guess that's going to be it.
One more thing.
One more thing. He had to say that.
Yeah, he did, didn't
That's
he?
like the
We'd have
nail
almost
in the
got away
coffin
with
right
it,
there.
wouldn't we?
That's the nail in the coffin right there.
Absolutely.
One
Oh, am I
last-
gone?
You had
were,
it.
yeah.
You were. Yes, you're back again now. Hi,
All of a
Jeff.
sudden, I hear you guys talking. I'm thinking, what are you guys talking
You
about?
said one more thing, and then it was like silence.
Absolutely.
Uh-oh.
It was perfect timing.
Okay, I'll try to get this out quickly. Greg sent this in. Hey, I saw this on VinePair and thought of you. If you're a fan of IPA, science says you're more likely to be a psycho. So
No.
he sent in this this link, which I'll have in the show notes for those of you who enjoy a good IPA. You'll see that apparently it's more likely than not that you are a psycho, maybe an axe murderer or something, because you like that strong, bitter taste.
Interesting. I'll have to read that
Yeah.
article. So
Yeah, it's a bunch of malarkey,
Steph
of course.
doesn't use axes. She sticks little pins in people.
it's a slow torture. It's a slow
Exactly.
torture. It's like the
Yeah.
voodoo dolls, actually.
I don't
Ah.
think that the people that did the study really understand what is attractive about a nice hoppy beer, but
It's
whatever.
an acquired taste, and it's not our
It
fault
is.
if people can't learn that.
I believe
When I
it
started
was
brewing
just-
beer,
Yeah, sorry, carry on, Jeff.
oh no, it's hard. We keep talking over each other because I think there's a little bit of lag. When I started home brewing back in the mid '80s, and the beer styles that I liked were very kind of malty sweet, very, very low hopping levels, and I couldn't understand how anybody could drink some of these really hoppy beers, and that was before we had these big giant in your face India Pale Ales that we have. And then over time, my palate changed as I got older. Really started enjoying. It's just like like gin and tonics. I couldn't stand the taste of gin or tonic water, but now I love it. So
Yeah, our tastes change as we
anyway,
get older. They become more refined. I'll say that.
yeah. Or maybe you just lose all your taste buds.
Or that. Oh, hey,
Okay.
you did ask me last week or over the weekend to give a highlight on some of the third-class medical reform, but I can save that for next time.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Sorry about
Yeah.
that stuff.
It's going to take more than just a minute or
Okay.
two, probably.
Why don't we do that? Why don't we shelve that one for the next episode?
Yeah. I just looked down and realized those notes are all sitting here in front of me.
Oh, my bad.
Sorry. My bad.
Okay.
We'll put it up next time.
Written in. Okay, we'll remember next time.
Yeah. So if you're waiting to hear about third-class medical reform.
Meantime, if you want,
Oh, sorry.
my bandwidth keeps going and coming. Camera that I have that keeps shutting off and then turning back on. Maybe it's something going on with my computer. I don't know. Hope not.
That'd be strange, Jeff.
Yeah.
It's never happened before.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you want to learn more about the show, airlinepilotguy.com. We have some great apps by our app guy, Paul Whittle. The airline, just do a search on iOS App Store or the Android App Store, the Google Play Store, or Air free version. Watch and listen and become involved as an APG community member. Am I still on?
Well, you are
Kind of.
now. The middle bit disappeared a bit, but
We didn't hear any of what you just said, but that's
we just
all.
give
So
you
I think
plenty of time. Jeff.
we'll just let you do the sign off,
Yeah.
and we'll just sit here because otherwise we're gonna end up talking over you, and
Okay.
But
here we go. I'm going to say, and until next time, wishing you clear skies, unlimited visibility, and tailwinds. Take care, and God bless.
take care, y'all.
Yeah, cheers, everybody. Good night.
Woohoo!
Oh, we did it. Well done.
Wow, it's
That
kind
was
of
a
painful
struggle.
that we, yeah.
The-
I
the
guess
sun-
taking that break in Farnborough kind of just did something with our timing or something. I don't know.
No, I just think it's the bit of a lag, bit lag, Jeff. That's all it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I try, I think you've stopped talking, so then I'll jump in and say something, but you've started talking again by the time I start saying something.
We got to figure out a better way
Sorry.
to do this. I wonder if it's Google Hangouts that's the problem tonight.
I don't know.
We're running out of
Trying to do it
options.
over,
I have a feeling
over,
your bandwidth might be just a bit fluctuating a bit, going up and down. So
Yeah, it could be.
just every once in a while when it goes out
Yeah, when I do the test, it looks good, but maybe it's only like spikes
temporarily,
or something.
yeah,
or it's getting an average, and maybe it's very intermittently good, and most of the time not so good.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just been had a very clean signal all night. I'm afraid it's only your end that's been up and
Yeah.
down, as far as I
Oh,
heard.
well, sorry
And Nick's
about
been okay too. It's just been,
that. All right.
Mind you,
Well,
Steph and I are just almost next door, so perhaps that'll cancel it.
yes.
Yeah, maybe I'll try to go with the
A short 3.5 hours drive apart.
with the hot
And
spot.
I haven't actually worked out where you are yet, Jeff. Where are you?
He's in
Well, I'm in
Providence,
Providence,
Rhode
Rhode Island.
Providence.
Yeah, up,
Island. South
you
of
know-
Boston.
You know where Long Island is? It's north of.
PVD.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
PVD.
Okay, I've been over there a few times. That's a regular waypoint of ours heading out towards the pond.
Yeah. Kind of go by if you're going up toward Boston. Southwest of Boston, I guess.
Yeah.
On the Long Island Sound.
What does the Long Island sound like?
like that?
When you hold that seashell up to your...
Do you hear the seagulls?
It sounds like you're torturing a puppy.
It's the best I can do. Best I can do. James, where did I vacation last week? I didn't. I just stayed at home, recovered from the trip to the UK, and did some projects. Put in a new sink and new ceiling fans and light fixtures and that kind of thing. Just a bunch of projects that needed to be accomplished at home. So it was a staycation, the second half of my 2-week vacation. So, all right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us tonight. And sorry about all the technical issues again.
One of these times we're going to have a show where you don't have to say that, Jeff.
I know.
Yeah, we did. It was a week and a half ago.
Actually, that's true. There was 0 technical issues at Farm Room.
Yeah.
I think we just need to get Carlos and Matt and
Nev
Neville.
to come with us on all our trips.
Yeah, exactly right. To fly around the world with us, unpaid assistance, technical assistance.
The good news is we like you guys. The bad news is we can't pay you.
Yes.
No.
Yes,
It'll all be
exactly.
volunteer work on your part, but we do really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Fenwick, I flew over and back on an Acme 76400.
That's a really, if you haven't heard of it, it's a really old airplane.
I think everything that I fly on or fly in is an old airplane, apparently.
Yeah.
Well, I
I'm
flew back
still-
on a
I'm still hugely
18-something-year-old A330.
18-year-old 330. Oh, that's
I think so.
that's just young for a 330. Being such
Okay.
a modern airplane, 18 years, it's just nothing in its lifespan.
Gotcha.
The thing that so disappointed me, Jeff, was having got your skipper of the Acme 29 on the blower and passed this huge message, explained to him that, a great friend of mine, Captain Blah Blah, is on. Perhaps that was the problem. I called you Captain Blah Blah. Was on board, and we'd had this competition about getting airborne, and I've been tweeting you. Well, I hadn't, not while I was taxiing, of course. You understand?
No,
didn't actually do that, but.
Mm-hmm.
I said, right, bet we can get airborne in front of you, blah blah. And the fact that they couldn't find you, I thought surely they must know there's another buddy skipper on board their aircraft, and that he's sitting in the front. I was so disappointed.
You know what I should have
give
done?
a description.
In hindsight, I think what I should have done was just go up and just say hi to the guys up front. But I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to go, oh, by the way, I'm a pilot. I'm sitting back in business class. Blah, blah.
You didn't go up and be like, hey, I was also in the Air Force.
You ever heard of my
and,
podcast?
I'm an awesome pilot. And
yeah, let me tell you a little bit about myself. Do you have about a half an hour or an hour? So, but if I had said something to them, then they probably would have gone, oh, yeah, that idiot that came up here bragging about his stupid podcast, yeah, he's on the airplane. What do you want me to tell that jerk?
Well, if all our crew get a list of staff passengers, get all the upper class passengers, everyone's there named, they just have a look at the sheet and go, oh, yeah, there he is, bonk.
Well, I think part of the problem, Nick, is that when the flight attendant was going around before we even pushed back from the gate, she has like a list, like a clipboard with all the passenger names on it, and she's asking them what they want for their appetizer and their meal and that kind of thing. And she said, Mr. I think it was like Henson or Habson or something like that.
so that's whose seat you got.
Yeah, and I said, no, that's not my name. And she found out later that he had moved back I was in 2D and he moved back to 8 or 9D. And so I guess I got the seat that he was originally in. So there was a mix-up there. I'm not even sure. I looked at that sheet of paper that she had. I don't think my name was on that sheet of paper. So.
Oh, okay. Oh well. I guess it was just a shame because the skipper sounded quite a nice bloke, and we chatted on for a while. But
yeah. Oh well.
Not I might add on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We were on my company for.
Yeah. Did the flight attendant become very aggressive at all? What does that mean?
Oh, did she beat you?
No. It wasn't aggressive at all. All right. Well, I need to shut down so I can pack all this stuff up and get some sleep.
Yeah. What time are you
Yeah, you
working
do.
tomorrow?
I got a 4:50 a.m. pickup.
Oh, ouch. Well, that's going to hurt. Just go to bed, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll let you go.
So, okie dokie.
All right, mate. Well
See
done.
you guys.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Thanks
Good
for
night.
finishing it off tonight. Good job. Bye, everybody.
Roger, Roger. Now I can spend all day tomorrow doing all the editing, which is great. But by the time I get home from the trip, it'll be all in the can, I hope.
Awesome.
All right, everybody. Thanks, everybody in the chat room, for hanging out with us and, enduring.
You guys are troopers. We love you.
Absolutely.
We love you. We really do. And we mean that in the most romantic way possible.
Can I just slightly disengage myself from that statement? I just
No,
entirely
you
want to
cannot.
be associated with that.
He just included all of us on that, whether we wanted
Exactly,
to.
yeah.
He's like, yeah.
I may not feel entirely that way about some of our
Bye.
listeners. Bye.
Bye. Oh my
Love
God.
you.